Okay, you guys, hello. I've only recently come to Tucson, and I'm still working my own stuff out to get a bit more footing here, and it's a process. But I do want to talk about a few more points. I don't have too many to make right now, but a few more points about the Daisy case and more things that just don't make any sense to me. I do want to talk to you about a few of those. One, from what I observed, the light comes up really soon here, first of all. So she would have been well lit at 4:30, but the thing is, you guys don't have a real time of death. You say at 4:30 she got a package, but at 4:30 it's her time of death. But at 4:30 is when the crash happened. Which one is it? Because these are all the hospital. Which one is it? These are big differences in time. And that there are no other witnesses when it gets at about 5:30 in the morning here. It looks like it's about 7 in California. 8. It looks really bright. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like there would be no witnesses at all. Also, I noticed in your downtown area a few things. One, it's far too dangerous for her to be down there, and with a protected mother, I'm not buying it. She was very protective of Daisy. Loved her very much. And I didn't know the woman to know that. I had already heard stories from her from afar of how she was just very loving and protective of Daisy. And also I noticed that your whole downtown area where she died has cameras everywhere, all over those intersections. I also looked into what would happen at the rate of 30 miles per hour, and your guys, I'm a little unclear because your story is a little unclear, but I did look into what the percentage rate of is if you get hit going 30 miles per hour. Looks like your downtown area is around 30 miles per hour, and your driver says that he saw Daisy from afar coming at, clearly had to have seen from a point of view to see her clearly on a skateboard heading toward him, in which case most of us would say if you see someone going through a light, you're going to apply your brake. It takes about, in a collision, if you are now to another car or applying your brake, it takes about 1/10 of a second. So it takes about it's about 100th of a second if you're with another car. So without, it's about 1/10 of a second to brake, and with is about 100th of a second if you're in a collision with a car, which he wasn't. But either way, saying it would take a fraction of a second to reduce his speed down even to 20, but I'm talking 1/10 for a complete stop. Now, if in the event that a car is moving past at 30 miles per hour, it says there's about a 50% chance, like the 50% chance that you would die that way. Now, if the person were to apply on their brake and even go down to just 20, that reduces to a 10% chance, which means the fact that she died means he most likely was going over 20, which means he didn't apply his brakes. It also means likely, more likely, if she died from this, more likely he was going over 30. So actually, it's possible that speeding could be a factor here. But the more interesting thing is that brakes are not being applied. And again, if you have, I'd like to point out, they said that she died in an intersection. And I'd like to point out that they said that he was on the curb. He was pulled over, not in the intersection, in a curb. So I have some questions. One, where was her body? Did you leave it in the intersection? Because if you did, and you didn't protect it, and you just pulled over, that seemed like an odd instinct to me. I hit someone, and no one's around, and I don't want her to get hit, and maybe it's still dark out, then I'm going to want to use my car instinctively as a big thing to protect her. I wouldn't leave a little dark body that could get run over while I'm pulling off making phone calls. No. So instead, I think most of us instinctively would stop our car immediately and get out and know not to move the body. But it sounds like her body had been moved, perhaps to the side. It's a little unclear. Perhaps to the sidewalk, in which case it means that they moved the body from the original place. But if you move the body and you're not equipped to do that, if someone has a broken neck or spine, you could kill them. So that movement itself of the body could incidentally be manslaughter or murder, depending on what you got, what charge you got, second degree murder or something like this. So, and that question doesn't seem to be asked. So it seems that necessarily he's not applying his brake. He's not in the original spot where he said that the crash happened. She's not near enough to him. It's not what it sounds like, as they're not still in the intersection. So we can't tell exactly how much he dragged her body, anything. He's moved since his original claim. But I'm sorry, what? You moved? You what? You what? So let me get this straight. You hit a body that is in front of you, and you decide to either keep driving and she just goes on the wayside and you pull over up ahead, or you had to have come to a complete stop and backed up. But the thing is, if you had a high grill like that and you came to a complete stop, it's likely that she's going to now be under your car. So if you back up, you're going to hit her again. So these are the kind of questions I would like answers to, and no one seems to be asking them. And I'm in a whole town of fucking people, and I think you guys need to start asking this. I'm not even from here, okay? So these are real basic questions, and I'm just from being here. This is what I've gotten so far. It's not a whole lot, but it's enough to raise a question. Another one? Anybody? No? Nothing? It's a little more for you to think about.